that booking isn't necessarily going to make or break your career, and that if you just keep on going, you're only getting better.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Talent Agent Talk, where we're bringing you educational lessons behind the scenes of TV and film. I'm your host and a talent agent, Jason Lockhart. And today, we've got the badass guest of Daniel Baldock. Hey, Daniel.
Hey, thank you for having me. This is amazing.
Well, thanks, dude. I mean, it's crazy to like see so many of your auditions and like have known you for years. But like here we are, like just getting to sit around and like shoot the shit about acting and auditions. And, you know, like I don't even know what credit we should talk about. I know that we had some funky stuff happen with the Oval.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Great.
And you know, I was kind of going back and forth on a couple of things actually. But now that you mentioned the Oval, let's go ahead and touch on that.
Yeah, take me all the way back to the beginning of it.
So yeah, the audition was actually the same scene that I filmed on the first episode, but with Tyler Perry, things move fairly quickly on set.
Like how quickly?
Like 1-2 takes tops. But going back to the audition, I think I only did it, I don't know, 1 or 2 times. I felt pretty comfortable with the audition itself, and it was actually a lot of fun. It was a like an undercover cop posing as a homeless man, and then he arrests one of the main characters, which is really cool. But the great thing about that was when I got to set, of course, there's a lot of waiting around, but the set itself is awesome. It was like on the backstages. They've got a lot. It's really cool. But I got to rehearse with this guy a couple of times. And then when they got to set, they mic'd me up and they didn't have enough time to shoot it. So I got to come back the following day, do the rehearsal again, and then do it. But not only that was when they were filming, I'm arresting this guy. So cops come around, and they came in too soon. And then they came in too soon again. So I got to rehearse this thing like 4 times before they were actually like, good, cut, moving on, you know?
That's a rarity in the Tyler Perry world.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was really exciting. But the interesting part about that booking was when they asked me to come back for the following season. I actually couldn't do it because they wanted me to have availability for this whole block, which I didn't because I was attending my sister's wedding on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean. So I had to pass on that, and they actually cast somebody else. I'm not sure what happened with that other gentleman, but they ended up coming back to me. And, you know, I was on this cruise ship, not much service, and you were trying to get a hold of me, and I wasn't responding. But, you know, it was really interesting because I thought that I had lost that second episode, and it was always mine, apparently.
And we had gotten a better credit, too,
Yeah.
in the negotiations.
Yeah, it was much better, and I was basically on set, I don't know, two days or so after I landed back to the port in Miami. So it just all moved really quickly after that. So
I think what's great about that is that you were okay saying no.
yeah.
You know, I love that it worked out, but I also love that you chose your sister's wedding.
Of course.
And like as an agent, what am I losing? Couple $100?
Yeah.
The company, couple $100 maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't really put a price tag on your sister's wedding and
Yeah.
standing there with her when she's getting married.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you even like being a little conflicted about like, what do I do here?
I was.
I know.
Yeah.
And like, you know, you don't have control over when you're booked, but you do have control over some personal situations. And I think it was just a lot of like mad respect for you for the decision that you made.
Thank you.
And then look at the reward the universe, or specifically Tyler Perry, did give you anyway for choosing your humanity, you know?
Yeah, and you know, once I made that decision to stick with my family, and because I mean, family's so important. Your family and friends, I feel like that's the driving force of why we do.
It's
at
a
least
constant.
why I do it. Yeah.
It should always be there. Whereas work is going to have peaks and valleys.
Right. Yeah. It's always, if you don't get this one, there's always going to be another one right behind it. So that actually helped me solidify my decision in you know, attending my sister's wedding on a cruise ship, you know, like
You got to do that.
Yes. So that one was really great. Just being able to kind of forget about it, and then it just kind of hopped in my lap again, and it's exciting after the wedding. I know I'm going back to Miami to come back to my regular life and everything, and I've got a booking waiting for me. It's amazing.
I feel like you always have a booking waiting for you. I mean,
yeah.
we can't say everything about this year, but you've already got numerous contracts this year, and he's got really cool stuff coming out.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
And I'm still excited about Walking Dead. You were recurring in that world.
Yeah.
We didn't know the scope of it when you booked.
No, I definitely didn't. I had auditioned a lot for the Walking Dead franchise, I guess. But this one specifically for the Walking Dead World Beyond, I think they were dummy sides unless they had to be rewritten or something. But that audition was really fun. That was a great audition, just because I felt like it had more of a story development than when I actually did the scenes on set. My scenes on set were actually very, I wouldn't say minor, but a lot of them were flashback scenes. So there wasn't a lot of story that I had to move forward. But that one was definitely a life-changing event for me. I had just come off of Women of the Movement, where they chopped off all my hair and everything, completely different look, which was cool. I was game for that. But
I remember your hair was so long, so long on The Resident.
Yeah, it was very long. Yeah, I was just down to
playing
here.
all
And
those dodgy characters.
Yeah, which is great. I love the bad guys. But that time in my life was so exciting because I always liked to travel for work, and Women of the Movement took place in Mississippi, or filmed in Mississippi. And I had to, practice on my accent. And, when I was on set, everybody was great. But I got to travel to Mississippi, and then I booked The Walking Dead World Beyond. I got to go into Virginia. I was there for a month, which I don't think was supposed to happen. But
no, I remember conversing.
Actors, listen up. The Southeast is one of the top markets in the film and TV industry, and get ready for a career transformation like never before. Walk away with leveled up mindset and unshakable confidence. Breakout workshops to elevate your craft, incredible agents and casting directors who will help shape your career path. This is more than just a weekend. This is your chance to build on your craft and grow your community. The career you want starts here.
I remember conversing about how's this going to pay, and it was the pandemic, and
yeah, and that's another thing thrown in there. I mean, I actually did fairly well, thankfully,
during a slow time for everyone else.
Yes, but that's probably why I was there for so long. But for the most part, I had maybe 2 or 3 days of actually being on set filming for that, and I was basically just responsible for going to these COVID tests every so often. So I took full advantage of that while I was in Virginia, and I hung out with some of the people there. Actually, the first scene the first day of filming was my death scene. Spoiler, sorry. But yeah, no, the guy who shot me, Robert Palmer, he was actually really cool. He was staying at the same hotel as I was. We went out to lunch and the botanical gardens and stuff like that. So we hung out on our downtime, and I actually helped him film some auditions out there.
That's cool.
Yeah. So he was a really cool guy to kind of hang out with while I was there. Because I mean, I'm not gonna bust onto set and just be like, oh, I'm just gonna sit here and watch you guys. Go ahead. But it was really cool to get to know him, because he obviously had a much larger role in that I guess series.
Yeah.
I forget where I was going with that.
That doesn't matter. It's just super cool that you did it. And I wonder, was there any great lesson that you learned being up there for so long, or working on that show numerous episodes, that you could give the advice to your younger self or to anyone watching?
Yes. That first day that I filmed, I was reflecting back at the hotel, and I was thinking, oh, did I do okay? Was that all right? It happened so fast. I'm like, was everything okay? Did I even say my lines right? Which they'll tell you, obviously. But I guess what I'm getting at is don't let your intrusive thoughts win, because I had no idea that they were going to call me back. But not only that, I had worked with the same casting office on Women of the Movement. I had a great time doing that. And then I booked The Walking Dead World Beyond. And then they called me back for another episode of Women of the Movement, like right after that. I was working back to back every month, back to back. And after Women of the Movement, they called me back for The Walking Dead World Beyond for a flashback scene, you know? And it was just something very simple and you know, it moved that story along. But could they have done it without me? Maybe. But it's really, I'm really grateful that they were like, no, let's bring him back for this, you know? So I got to see the crew again, hang out with those people. And, you know, it was definitely life-changing for me because I felt really good about where I was going in my career, you know?
You didn't let the intrusive thoughts win.
No. I mean, they were there, but at the same time, I didn't, you know, and I just trusted, I just trusted that, you know, my experience and my training and that I was just good enough. And, you know, sometimes it's hard to just forget about and trust, but obviously it was there, you know.
Easier said than done, right? You know, but it is true. Like, I wonder, like, how do you do that when, especially like if you're having like a rough patch or a bad day, how does an actor like tell themselves like, I've booked before, I'm going to book again. How do you believe that, you know?
Yeah, it's really tough sometimes. I mean, obviously some days are way easier than others to kind of like throw that away, but you know, I do struggle with that sometimes. And, you know, from time to time, you just have to remind yourself that that booking isn't necessarily going to make or break your career. And that if you just keep on going, you're only getting better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know that there's going to be another one right around the corner, you know, and if not, then, you know, something later on down the line will come. As long as I just keep doing what I'm doing and trust that I know what I'm doing and to be surrounded by the people that support you, you know, family, friends, you know, The Oval and The Walking Dead. I filmed with my good friend Tony DeMille. You know, not only is he a great actor, but he's an amazing person, and like the energy that he kind of exudes, you know, just kind of like heightens you to another level as well. So
it's great when your reader sets you up for success.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's wonderful when an actor can help another actor with their self-tape and really root for them and hope they win.
Yeah.
It's such a gift.
It makes a huge difference.
Huge difference. It's not just the lighting and the sound and the backdrop. It's the reader too.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the technical.
Yeah.
But I also love what you were just saying because I've recently started thinking that resume credits are not just black and white credits. I look at them as trophies.
I like that.
Because for every credit you have, let's take The Walking Dead, for example. How many submissions were there? Probably a couple thousand, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And then how many people actually auditioned? Let's say even just 100. Of the 100, how many people went from Finn Cannon to the director and the showrunner and producers? You know,
It's very true.
12. So now you're down to 12 people. You went from thousands to 12. And now of the 12, how many people get an avail check? Maybe 3. And then guess what? You got the trophy.
Yeah.
You didn't just win the role. You won the competition from so many people. That is not just a black and white printed thing on your resume or living digitally out there. It's like you really, really stood at the top of the apex and got that trophy. And when you have a resume that has as many credits as you do, it is a powerful resume. It is a shelf filled with trophies. And I think if actors can realize, if you've worked, you've started collecting trophies, you know, even if it's a short film, so maybe it's a small trophy. But when it's a big set, like The Walking Dead, that's one of those big trophies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have so many now. So I would not challenge actors, but I would remind actors that as you start to collect resume credits, you have started to collect victories over so many other people trying to collect victories. And I look at someone like you or, you know, some of other people that we're close to in our circle, and it's like, wow, these people have a lot of trophies. I bet you'll win again one day.
You know, I really love that. And you were asking, I think you answered your own question there. Like, how would you get past those intrusive thoughts? Is just remembering the trophy.
You have a trophy room.
Like that just gave me chills, you know?
Hell
Like
yeah.
it does. Because I've never really thought about it that way. And you're absolutely right. You know, it's so easy to look at the rejections or the, you know, the limited possibilities or however you want to look at that. But when you do just sit back and remember the fact that your wins are those extreme wins. They're not just like two people watching your tape and be like, oh yeah, let's hire this guy. It goes through so many channels before you get that okay.
That is a difficult win, but you did it.
Yeah.
You know?
Thank you.
And so why wouldn't you do it again?
Yeah.
And it's not like, I love to parallel acting to sports all the time and talking about how you need to be in the gym all the time and you need to be, working on the craft all the time. But where acting is different than sports, with sports, they do kind of have a physical shelf life. Not every sport, but most sports, the older you get, the more challenging it's going to be to win. And that is not the case with acting. With acting, the more you win, it doesn't matter how old you get. You might win more with age. Yep. So just keep going. Stay positive. Celebrate your wins and use them as like confidence when you're standing there and to ground you and really put forth your best work,
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I mean, I can't wait for what's in store for me in the future,
Speaking of, you got a dream role?
Oh, yes. Dream role. Okay. Okay. Everybody always says comedy, and of course I love comedy. I love comedy, but I also like being bad guys.
So what about a bad guy in a comedy?
Yes. I love that. And I was also thinking, I've always wanted to kind of like inspire people in whatever way that it comes across, however they read it, like the greats did for me when I was a kid, So I would love to. I've always wanted to work with like Jim Carrey or Robin Williams or something like that. So if I could play them in like a biopic or something,
wow,
it would be cool.
Wow.
I would love that. I mean, I would dive into that research and I would play. It would be amazing. So
I got a Jim Carrey impersonation?
Not really, but I used to make a lot of funny faces.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I won't put you on the spot.
Oh, yeah. It just got me sweaty. It got me nervous. Yeah.
Good. It's good to be nervous. That means you're humble.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, dude, for being here. And as you know from some previous episodes, my guests do win a free car.
Yes, I have been excited about this part.
So,
can I shake it up? Can I?
You can. Yeah. Just don't look inside.
All right, here.
It's my magic bag from Sarah.
Oh, I love it. I love Sarah. She's great.
Oh, man. I wondered who would get that.
That is sweet. So I don't know if you can see, but it's purple and gold. 64 Lincoln. It's amazing.
That's pretty cool.
I love it.
I hope that brings you positive energy and good luck in all things you do.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes you smile when you see it. Remember this great moment that you potentially helped change someone else's life with any one of your nuggets from your stories.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, too.
It's amazing.
And thank you to everyone for watching. Just really appreciate your time and hope that you got something out of today. And thank you to Jesse Malinowski and Get Seen for producing our show. And if you would like to be a guest on our show and you have an interesting booking story with a lesson, feel free to pitch it directly to us. The email is talentagenttalk@gmail.com. Again, that's talentagenttalk@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
And have a good one, everybody.
Thanks again so much for watching. And if you loved that story and were interested to learn more about the casting office that actually cast that show, then I have some really cool news because our sister show, Get Seen Unscripted, actually had them on the show. So you'll see it right here. Do not miss that episode. Over an hour on one-on-one with that casting director, talking about things that they like, don't like, to help give you the edge in your next audition. So thanks again so much for tuning in and watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you on the next one.